Good afternoon. It's 1 p.m. We're ready to begin our webinar titled Building a Digital Marketing Strategy, a Simple Guide. Before I introduce our guest expert, let me remind you this webinar is a presentation of the Community Economic Development Fund in Meriden, Connecticut. I'm Frederick Welk, a business advisor for CEDF clients. The Community Economic Development Fund is a nonprofit organization which provides enterprises in Connecticut with term loans, lines of credit, and commercial mortgages when they can't get traditional bank financing. We welcome our webinar participants, who include CEDF clients and business owners from across Connecticut. For practicality and to improve the program quality, we're muting the lines of everyone tuned in. If you develop questions, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, and our presenter will get to as many of the questions as the hour permits. The presentation is being recorded, and CEDF will make the program available on our website in the coming days. And we've moved that content to our new educational website address at weteachsuccess.org/replays. Many businesses invest in scattered digital marketing channels such as search engine optimization or SEO, social media marketing or pay-per-click, just because they're trending, and they may have worked for other businesses, but investing in digital marketing must be based on a strategy that identifies back office needs, target audiences, how to make decisions, what engages them, and where they search for information. This webinar explains a simple step-by-step guide on how to develop a holistic digital marketing strategy that maximizes your return on marketing dollars spent. Dr. Emad AbouElgheit is an associate professor of marketing at Western Connecticut State University and the founder of Inbwnd, a full-service digital marketing strategy company. Dr. AbouElgheit was a communications expert at the United Nations and a former senior consultant marketing and communications manager at the Gallup organization. He also was the chief marketing expert among a global consulting consortium for the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development to promote a financing program in his native Egypt. Welcome, Emad. Thank you very much for joining us today to help out.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks for the introduction. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you, and thanks for coming. Before we start, just feel free to interrupt me any minute while I speak through the question and answer button, and I'll get to the questions as soon as I can. So I want to talk about building a digital marketing strategy, something that you can do on your own for your own business. It is really important before spending any dollars on paid ads or search engine optimization or social media marketing. Plenty of businesses lose a lot of money because they just implement one or two things because they heard about their success, but without a holistic strategy that really understands who are you targeting, what's your current situation, what do you want to do actually, how you want to build or grow your business, the investment would be not achieving its objective. So I'm going to start by having a simple process. It's a 6-step process. First, you need to do situational analysis, then identify your target audiences, then identify your objectives and how you're going to measure them. Okay, it's really important step. What do you really want to achieve and how you are going to measure it. And then you define your service offering, brand messaging, and you identify then your budget and then your strategy. This is the meat of your plan, or what we're going to talk about today. So what are different strategies out there, how we can grow organically for free, how we can grow with paid ads. So this is what the most are going to talk about today. And then identify your content strategy, how we're going to engage people on your website, on your social media and stuff like that. And finally, your action plan, how considering your annual project or your campaign budget as a project, and how you're going to see activities to specific activities to finish this project in. So situational analysis is the first step. I mean, it's really important to build a strategy based on strong foundation. It's basically understanding where you are right now before deciding on any investments or any spending. You need to look internally into your organizations, what kind of budget you have, what kind of resources you have, what kind of talent do you have in your team, what makes you better than your competitors. What about your location? What about your distribution channels? Do you have already digital presence that is working? Did you invest in a website that is already working? Do you have a blog? Is it really distinguished from your competitors? Those digital properties that you have? What are your weaknesses? Is it related to budget? Is it related to skills? And then you look at your competition. Identify your direct competition. Those are the ones who target the same client in the same area and selling similar products or services. Those are direct competitors. So know them well, study them, know their strengths and weaknesses and compare to yours as well, and also list them in this like SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right. And lastly here, look at the external environment, things that happen that you can take advantage of, or it's a threat that can impact your business. What about the digital trends that is consumers are going by? Something like COVID-19, how that changed behavior. Disposable income, is it that increasing or decreasing? The target demographic or age group that you target by your products or services, is that growing or declining the last 5 years? Are there any like political or social issues that impact your business? Minimum wage, tax, tariffs, if you're doing international business, all of those things, whether they are representing opportunities or threats, you need to be aware of them. And simply develop that SWOT table. And basically, the objective here is not to just do something that is theoretical. You will use this SWOT table to develop your strategies. For example, if you have a strong brand, for example, as one of your strengths, and one of opportunities is that you have consumers that have more disposable income, all right? So you link this strength with this opportunity to develop new products that are under the umbrella of your existing strong brand. So when you develop that new products, taking advantage of that increasing spending in your consumers' target markets, you will capitalize on that strength and opportunities together. And so on and so forth. It's just listing those bullet points in front of you will help you build the strategy. So the ideas of your main digital strategy will come from your situational analysis after you look internally, competitive, and external. All right, and just switch to... All right. Your target audience is the next step. So identifying who are the people or the target consumer segments that you want to target is really important. And it's not enough to say, okay, I'm targeting women, I'm targeting middle-aged men, I'm targeting Generation Z or millennials. You need to be a lot more specific than that. You need to know their income, know their habits, where they look for information, where they live, what's their income level, education level. So really profile them at the end of the day to have like sort of customer segments profiles, as you can see the example here in the slide. So for example, those can be based on their shopping habits. Are they frequent shoppers? Are they like spontaneous shoppers? How what influences them, what kind of social influences they are under, who they listen to, where they look for information. So it's a little bit of a of a research step that you need to take in order to know your customers that you're targeting. And at the end of the day, you can't target anyone. This is a pretty common issue that many businesses do, and they try to be everything for everyone, which is not going to work. So you're going to have to trade off. Choose the target audience wisely based on how attractive each of those segments to you. So, for example, if high income, market segment is existing, but it's very few in numbers, does that make it attractive for you? Does that justify the focus that you're going to build your strategy on when you really can't find them because they don't have enough numbers or size that you can actually target? When you have a lower income segment, but you have a large segment size where you can improve sales by volume. So really choosing the segment based on how attractive they are to your products and services, what likely they are going, or how likely they are going to receive your products and services. So at the end of the day, the next step of your strategy after your situational analysis is to have profiles, customer profiles, like the example that you see here in the slides, and actually document that and educate your team about it. Those are our customers. Those are who we will want to serve. Okay, the rest of the customer segments out there, you should simply ignore, because you can't be everything for everyone. And one thing I want to explain here is that there are some free tools that can help you identify some of those target segments, right? So for examples, this is a website that you can pretty much take or have an input of a specific zip code. Let's say, for example, 610. And once you enter that zip code, you will find already who are the target segments in that area, in that zip code. So those here, like for example, those 5 segments that appear on the bottom left, 59, number 59, new melting pot, this is a target segment, all right? Country squirrels, squires are another target segment. If you click on each one of them, you will find a lot of valuable information about that segment, like a little bit slow loading, but you can have their median income, right? Household income, what lifestyle or media traits they do, what do they do for fun, what's their family, like children, status, all of those things. So you can easily, and this is for free. Of course, if you want more advanced information, there are other like paid tools that you can use, and there are paid versions of this website as well. But the amount of information that you can get is can be very useful to know actually in the area that you are in or your business serves who is already out there, and you can have an idea of who to target from this information. All right. So the third step here is to list your objectives, right? For example, your objective has to be SMART, meaning they have to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So this is just a simple checklist whenever you really articulate in words what you're trying to achieve, it must meet those criteria. It has to be specific and measurable. It has to find a way to be, it has to have a way to be measured. For example, stating an objective like we want to be the best restaurant in town. That's not really a smart objective, okay? What do you mean by the best? Is it the largest? Is it the most popular? Is it the highest quality? So, and when is that going to happen? According to whom? And how you're going to actually measure that success? So your objectives need to sound like this: to launch a mobile application by May 21, to increase revenue by 30% by the end of 21, to improve brand visibility by reaching 1,000 new prospects by the end of 21. So once you articulate this objective, it gets easier to actually understand and communicate to your team, and it gets easier to build that accountability and that discipline towards achieving the objectives. If you have, if your objectives are not really clear or specific, you'll be kind of shooting in the dark and not really knowing if you are actually making a progress or not. So this is the third step here. All right. If your step can be about engagement, by the way. So here it's important, especially in digital marketing, to understand the types of the things you may want to achieve. If you are a starting business, if you are a startup and you're very consumer centric, for example, and none of your customer base still know about you, so you probably need to focus on visibility, right? So you need to drive traffic to your website. You don't necessarily want to generate sales at the moment necessarily. Maybe you want to build a customer base first and then engage them and then sell to them. So it's a totally different objective, and it's going to change your budget, and it's going to change your entire digital strategy. So if you want visibility, you will focus on driving traffic to your website, having more followers or likes on your social media pages, having more visitors to your blog, having more on-site traffic to your store, and so on. If your objective is about engagement, all right, your customers already know you, you have a good customer base, right? You have a decent degree of visibility and brand awareness, so your objectives are going to be totally different. They're going to be about engagement, how you want to engage the followers on your social media page. You'll be surprised like how little engagements pages with tens of thousands of followers get. Okay, sometimes you navigate to a social media page that have multiple hundreds of followers, multiple hundreds of thousands of followers, and you find like 10 comments or 10 shares or something like that. So it's a very low engagement, and it doesn't really matter at this point how much or how many followers you have. But what really makes things happen is how engaged they are, right? So just clicking that like button is not necessarily going to mean that Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn is going to even display your posts to them, all right? They have to be really engaged, and they have to click specific settings to see all of your posts. And they have to have a reason to engage with those posts. So your objectives will be about engagement. So you will invest in content, you will get influencers, you will examine the engagement on those pages. And for example, if your objective is about sales, so it's going to be more conversion. How many, if you have an e-commerce website, how many orders you got from existing customers, from new customers. And that's going to entirely change your strategy, tools, budget, everything. So having those clear objectives from the beginning and knowing what type of results you want to have is really helpful. And then you want to develop those ways to measure if you are actually achieving those objectives, okay? Like you have a year plan, All right. So if you want to measure something like awareness, one of its metrics or measures is social media, for example, engagement, ratios. All right. So this is your baseline, what kind of engagement you have now, and what kind of engagement you want to have, and how frequently you're going to measure it, and so on. So if you want more visits, or search engine ranking, or followers, or website visits, where are you right now? This is your baseline. Where you want to be at the end of the year, and how frequently you're going to look at it, or make sure that you are working towards achieving those objectives. So those are really helpful in the operational side of business, in managing your team, and monitor their performance as well, and having everyone clear on what needs to be done, and being accountable, and have ownership and autonomy in achieving those targets. So next, you want to make a few decisions about your brand offerings, about your distribution, pricing. First, you need to ask yourself some branding question. Branding means, like, what do you want people to think about what you're doing on the digital world? What people think about your brand? Is it expensive? Is it reasonable? Is it safe? Is it family-oriented? Is it friendly? You have to have a clear positioning, or a specific way that you want your customers to think about you, and start consistently drive that message and repeating it in your marketing content, in your everything that you do in your marketing strategy. So you need to figure that out a little bit. If that's not clear, sit with your team, sit with your staff, and see what makes you unique, and what you can actually be perceived by your customers, and choose a combination of two things, like reasonable prices and friendly service, quality and efficiency, or fast service and reliability, things like that, and start promoting those two aspects in your marketing content and your marketing strategy. And then, based on your analysis, the SWOT analysis that you made, review your product or service portfolio. Know, if the result of your analysis, you need to build a new product. Maybe you got a new idea for a marketing opportunity that people are going to probably receive a new service. So take a look at your service offerings portfolio. What kind of products or service do you currently have? What needs to be discontinued, maybe what needs to be adjusted or changed, and what needs to be introduced or launched, right? So, and those will come easy to do when you have your SWOT analysis, because you will identify what kind of opportunities are in the market, and how you can compete in that field. So look at your pricing strategies. Also, your pricing needs to make sense with your brand positioning. Like, for example, if you are positioning your brand about a very high quality service, consumers usually associate high quality with high price. So it does not make sense if you say, for example, we have the best quality products, but we have the best price. It just doesn't make sense. So you can't really have both things in your positioning. If you believe that you have the best quality, then you justify raising your prices, and vice versa. What are your tactics? Are you going to make room for sales promotions, for discounts, coupons, referrals? These also can generate ideas for your digital marketing strategy, like how you're going to encourage people to maybe follow your pages, or to refer your pages to their friends, right? So it can be a promotion for that as well. So it has to make sense with your pricing strategy. You have to make room for that. So online distribution, if you're selling only, all right, for example, if you're selling products online, if you have an e-commerce website, a lot of businesses would think about building their own website and selling it, products on it, and selling, building maybe their own apps, which is a good thing. But what other channels are that you can actually sell your products through? For example, building a store on Amazon, on Etsy, on eBay. Those are pretty popular platforms that you can sell through. They take commission, of course, but there are additional distribution channels that might, widen your window of reach. Because it's not about building a website and just having products sold there, but you need actually traffic to your website to be able to sell. So if you don't have that, you can consider alternative distribution strategies or other online channels that you can sell through. Your budget. So where to start from budgeting for digital marketing? Well, there are three main approaches for budget. The first approach of budget is just simply matching competition. Excuse me. Excuse me. So the first budgeting approach is to see how much your competitors are spending and maybe match it. Maybe have a budget that is a little bit lower, maybe a budget that is a little bit higher, or to make just a management decision about what you can afford or what you can afford budget. Okay, all what we can afford this year is $100,000 or $5,000. Okay, and let's do whatever we can do within that budget. Right? Some people do that. Or you can simply say, let's build it bottom up. Let's see what exactly needs to be done and how much it's going to cost. So whatever budgeting approach you choose is really up to your business situation. How you allocate the budget across digital media is really important. Do you have a budget for research? Right? A lot of businesses would just spend all on advertising, where you may need to spend a little bit on research to learn more about your customers. How much you're going to allocate for social media, how much you're going to allocate for building a new website, how much you're going to allocate for recruitment, maybe new staff or agencies or something like that. So the hidden costs, what are the hidden costs of digital marketing? Those can be agency fees, those can be learning. When you implement a digital marketing campaign, you need a few weeks for this campaign to actually learn how to optimize and actually, so your cost is going to be a little bit higher at the beginning in terms of the curve, and then you should lower your cost per acquisition or cost per new lead or cost per new customer. So usually that starts high as you learn and see how people react to your strategy and your ads, and it should go down by time. So make sure you're aware about those hidden costs. So now comes to the important part. So growth strategies. How do we grow our online presence? So there are two ways to do that. The first way is to do paid ads, the way on the left, and the second way is just to grow organically or free without advertising. All right. So you can do digital marketing in either ways, or maybe a mix of the two ways. All right. To do organic growth, that is, you don't pay for ads. That's the good news, right? The bad news is that it's not easy. It's hard. It takes time. And so it takes months to actually grow organically, maybe a year, to start to see some results, right? Your strategy is going to be a lot about creative and content. It's going to be about search engine optimization. It's going to be listing. It's going to be about your content strategy, how attractive your content is. And then you may choose, you may have budget and you want fast results, so you will go to the paid strategy, like do online ads, do search advertising, do display ads, banner ads. In that strategy, it's short term. You can get fast results if you have budget, and you can have a very highly targeting options. Like you can really target individuals in a very accurate way. So some examples of how some businesses grew organically, organic growth, without paying advertising. A website in Singapore a few years ago launched its business. Its name is Caligo. What they have done is that they did not spend any dollar on advertising. In online travel business, it's very, very competitive industry, dominated by Expedia, Priceline, Booking, all of those giants. So they control the price, they control the market. So if new entrants want to enter this market, they are going to spend a lot of money on advertising, like millions to be able to compete there. What Caligo did is something totally different. They had the budget to spend, but they did not spend it on advertising. Instead, they rewarded their customers, huge rewards, right? So usually when you are in an airline miles program or any loyalty program for travel, like maybe if you travel 5 or 10 times, you get a free flight or something like that. What Caligo did is huge. Like maybe you book a flight, you get the second flight for free. You book a hotel night, you get 2 nights for free. The rewards were too huge that everybody was talking about it. And this is how they got a lot of customers when they started or when they launched their products. Because everybody was talking about how great those rewards are, and everybody was chasing time to actually get advantage of those rewards and use their services. So they had the budget, but instead of spending it on ads, they spent it on their own customers. All right. Another example of an organic growth, REI is an outfit chain of store chain in the US, and what they did is that in Black Friday, they shut down the stores and they paid their employees to take the day off. So everybody was talking about how cool is that, and the media was talking about it, and that actually helped increasing sales. They didn't do any advertising, but just by having this idea, everybody was talking about it. So organic growth is to have, basically what you want to do is to have a brilliant idea that people want to talk about it, want to share, want to, like, want to refer their friends to. This is the base of growth, organic growth. Even organic growth is not limited to consumer markets. Some business-to-business companies got some great ideas for their advertising campaign. This is an example of it. Let's watch a little video.
I know you want me in here. I know what you have planned. Strap it on your jetpack and fly to work with your nanobot factory and your geodesic dome on the moon. You know how you sound. Do you have any idea? I see you out there with that smug look, thinking you're already in the future, strutting around with your Kindles and Schmindles, tablets and LCDs, and phones that refer to themselves in the first person. You think you're going to advance on your own? You think you're going to just leave me behind, stuff me in a sack, and take me out?
So as you guys can see, it's a printing company, business-to-business printing company. They made that series of videos in a campaign. They named it Printing Supply, right? So it's really going against the odds of everybody's going digital, but they love printing and they want everybody to stay with printing. And the campaign actually achieved millions of views of those videos. As you can see, those videos are not professionally made. It's just the idea, and of course the actor made most of the work here. But they got millions of views on the videos, and they increased sales, and they grow organically. If you want to choose the other way around, paid growth, do advertising, right? There are tons of ways that you can do that. Perhaps the most common, the most trending, the most probably effective is search advertising. Search advertising is basically when you search Google for a keyword and you get those results here that shows the word ad before them. Those are actually paid ads. So basically you pay Google to appear in those results because your search engine optimization is not good enough to have you appear in the first page for free, right? So search engine optimization is the opposite of those words, okay? Search engine optimization is the results that you get after those ads without paying Google. So you basically, this industry is huge worldwide. In 2019, Google made $134 billion from just search advertising, all right? And what happens here is that you pay Google whenever someone clicks this ad and goes to your website or whatever you want them to go, or you pay Google whenever 1,000 people just see your ad without clicking them, or sometimes you pay Google whenever someone sees the ad, clicks on it, and actually goes to your websites and buy something or take an action that you want. Only then you would pay. So there are a lot of payment options for search advertising, but basically, is it for you or not? Is it for your business or not? That needs a little bit of research, right? So you need, the cost per click basically can range between $2 or sometimes less to $100. So there's a huge gap depending on the competition, basically, because it's like an auction process. So whoever is competing with that on the same keyword, in this case, in the slide, flowers in Manhattan, for example, the more people competing or the more advertisers compete for that keywords, the more expensive what you will pay for a click. So what you want to do here is to do a little research and see what is the expected cost per click. Google can tell you that, all right? And maybe if you want to generate one conversion or one lead, you probably need 10 clicks. So your conversion rate will be like every 10 people click and go to your website, will, you know, more or less one of them will contact you or buy something, right? This percentage can change as well, but roughly speaking, if you wanna, if the cost per click is $50, you need 10 clicks to generate one conversion. So 10 clicks is $500. So one conversion for $500, is it really worth it for you? That's how you see if really paid ads or search advertising is for you or not. Okay, it might not be for you if you have less competition. That's good news. If you have the budget to compete, that's also good news. But otherwise, you will be just throwing money in the trash if you don't. If you are in a very competitive market and you're having a high cost per click, just simply do not do it. You also need to consider the agency fees. If you're going to do it on your own, you're going to just pay Google. But if you're going to have an agency or someone to manage it for you, you can add on top of that cost that you pay to Google 50% to 100% more. All right. So it is a huge industry. because it's obviously generating a lot of results. Some hot topic also in paid growth is local and mobile ads, right? You can do geofencing. Google and other search engines now take really higher priority for local search, right? Since everybody is on mobile now, so mobile is more important than desktop. So where your customers are and where your business is becoming more important. So with geofencing, you can tell Google, for example, I want to show my ad to the people who are in this location at that time. And that location can be as accurate as a neighborhood, street sometimes, or even a building, right? So you can target customers who are walking out of clinics or nursing homes with a product or service that they might be interested in. So you take advantage of their situation, what kind of situation they are in right now in this location, and what kind of service they need. And you can advertise more effectively that way. Also related to local and mobile ads, directories and apps are huge now. Things like Yelp. Advertising on Yelp is becoming more expensive because a lot of people are relying to it for local, small businesses like restaurants, like handyman, like that kind of stuff. You need at least to have a free Google My Business profile. You need to be on the map. That's the first thing that you need to do today if you're not there already, because it's free, and because if you're not on Google Maps, nobody in this area will search for your service and will find you. It's as simple as that. So create a Google My Business page, create a Bing Maps page, create a profile on Yelp. Do as many profiles as you can. All of them are free, but what you can get for paid is basically advertising for paid listings. So most of those are free, so you can at least take advantage of that. Things, apps, if you're in the restaurant business or local businesses, apps like grocery delivery, you need to be there. Open table, like restaurants booking, all of those things are becoming hugely popular now. Apps are becoming more popular than anything. So they're starting to be as important as search engines. So you need to have a mobile presence, which is becoming as important as being on a search engine. Business to business marketing. You can, LinkedIn marketing is huge now. Selling business services or professional services to and lead generating from LinkedIn is becoming huge. What do you need to do that? What do you need to have in order to do that is to start with your profile, invest in revamping your profile, write a professional storyline, manage your experience listings, put the proper keywords, have a professional photo taken. All of those stuff really, really make a difference. And you can see the results once you revamp your personal LinkedIn profile, simply by how many times you were found when people search for similar profiles, how many views your profile got after revamping your profile. And there is a hot trend coming now on LinkedIn happening, which is automated marketing. So basically, there are like plugins that you can have on LinkedIn, which can send to hundreds of contacts, maybe 100 contacts per day, asking for connection requests using one automated message that can be personalized to whatever name, company that person you're targeting. It's like a spam email, right? But it's in a more decent way because you're asking people for their consent to connect. Basically, you're reaching out to people so they can refuse or accept. But this automation actually can save you a lot of time and money by just reaching out to a wider number of people, where you can get people interested to connect and take the conversation further with them, and suggest meetings, suggest times to talk. So instead of doing that one by one, you can do it by bulk. And you can also advertise your company content on LinkedIn, of course, promoted posts, promoted videos, banner ads on the right side. LinkedIn advertising is pretty expensive, by the way. And the reason is that you're really targeting business buyers, which Microsoft believes it's worth it. Whether, again, it's worth it or not for you, you're going to have to do the research about estimated cost per impression, or cost per view, or cost per click, and see if that makes sense in your profit margin. Basically, how much you're willing to pay for a lead. All right. So this is a calculation that you need to know in any digital marketing thing. Paid social, like paid ads on social media. You can do that in a variety of formats: static images, videos, slideshows. You can pay influencers to do that. Let's see an example of an Instagram story ad here.
Hello, and welcome to Transparency Tuesday, where you ask questions and we answer them. Let's go. First question is from Emily, and it's: when are women getting longer inseams in denim? Next question is from Shelly, and it's: when is Choose What You Pay IRL? Hey, Megan. So when is Choose What You Pay IRL? Awesome. Are you guys still hiring for it?
So as you guys can see, it's all about the content and generating conversation with your audience. Okay, so you can develop such campaign on Instagram stories by having questions and answers, interactivity with people about a topic of interest. Video is really, really important in social. Everybody prefers to watch videos now versus reading a blog. The good thing about video is that it's worth investing, meaning a webinar that we're doing today can be easily transcribed into text and creating a blog version of it. Okay? So whatever meeting you have, something that you want to share with your clients, with your audience, anything that you can just say naturally in video, you can transfer it into text, and you can make it more search engine friendly and have different formats of it, like photos, videos, and text, and audio and podcasts as well. So the good thing about digital media is the return on investment. So if you invest in a little nicely made video piece, you have the opportunity to make a lot of things from it. So the same idea here: promoted content, of course, on social media. Influencers is also becoming a hot trend. Before choosing an influencer, of course, develop some criteria. What kind of influencer you want, what kind of brand you represent, and how those people are going to be matching or congruent with your brand. Do they seem, sound, and look like what you want to represent, how you want to represent your business? Check their history, check if they have any issues in the past, Google them properly, and basically pay them. How they're paid? They're paid by impressions, basically, like how many impressions they can get for a post that has your product in it. That's how they are paid. Okay. Very important thing here is that influencers can be very different in range. They need to have 10,000 followers to begin with. Okay, anyone who has less than 10,000 followers is not really an influencer. So the minimum that you want to look for is 10,000 followers. They can range up to millions of followers, and again, they are paid by how many impressions they can have for you for a post that has your product in it, right? And also some legal and ethical considerations here. In a lot of countries, including the U.S. as well, there are laws, discussions now about having influencers declare that they are being paid to promote a product or service. Consumer rights issues and stuff, which is going to eventually happen and should not negatively impact any ad on Facebook or Google where you know it's an ad. It's the same concept. And yeah, finally, your content. What kind of tone of voice you will have for your content strategy? Are you going to sound familiar, local, sophisticated, funny? Look back to your brand and how you want people to think about you, and whatever you post on social media should reflect that. Decide also how much original content you're going to publish versus how much curated content or non-original content you will do. For example, you can have 3 posts on your social media pages per day, or 4 or 5. Basically, you collect information and news about things that are of interest to your audience from other websites, from other businesses, from media, from whatever. Those are curated content because you did not originally create them. So think about how much you're gonna do of that versus how much you're gonna do your own content. Write your own blog from scratch, write your own or make your own video from scratch. Mainly people want to see original content more because obviously they can look for themselves about news and stuff. So try to invest in your own content. Even if it's non-professionally made, people love non-professional videos. It's more natural, it's more personal. The more personal you get is the best. Like, feel free to take a video of yourself starting your day. Interview your own employees. Have your employees say their opinion about their area of expertise, some news they thought or new reports published or something like that. In a casual setting, in a natural way, that would be ton more effective than like hiring a movie director and doing a customer testimonial video, for example. So the more original the content is and human and personal, the more engagement you're likely going to get. And you can still promote those as well. I mean, if you want more followers, you can promote your new video or blog, but the key here is the content. Content is king, right? Very old saying from the newspaper era, but still valid until today, I think. So invest in your content, and promoting it will be much cheaper and faster and more effective, right? Decide about the frequency, what kind of resources you have, and how frequent. Usually, if you want to be active on social media, you need at least 2 or 3 posts per day. Okay, so decide how you're going to do that in advance and schedule it to be automatically published, and how much time it's going to take to generate those posts. And finally, build an activities schedule, like how much time is going to be taken, when each task is going to happen, and who's going to be responsible for what, and who's going to own what, and how much is going to cost for every activity to know. And thank you very much. And I would like to hear questions or suggestions or anything.
Well, let's give our participants a few moments, Emad, to type in any questions that have come to mind. In the meantime, I've got one or two for you. You spoke earlier about needing to choose between various marketing goals and focusing on either conversions or engagements. And I can imagine an impatient small business owner saying, engagements doesn't pay the electric bill for me, only conversion does. But well, how would you persuade that individual that you got to have a certain number of engagements to get to the conversions?
Well, it's it's as simple as that. Unless the product or service being sold, the customer really need it or have no other options, conversions will be the only thing to consider, because customers will not have any other options but to buy this product or service. However, if you have competition, which is most businesses do, you're gonna have to give the customer a reason to choose you, and that is not easy, and it takes time. The good news is that it is an upfront investment, and once you build that base, it's easier to maintain. Like it's really maybe 10 times less cost to generate sales from existing customers versus trying to generate sales from a new customer. So your real investment is the customer base that you built, and that takes some time and money, but it pays well in the long run.
Well, we've got a question that's come in from Kimberly. Are there any other online research tools that you can recommend in addition to Claritas.com? Maybe she's referring to the fact that I guess a lot of big companies use research tools like that, and that can be kind of expensive.
Well, there is a tool called MediaMark, but I think it's a paid tool. So this is one of them. Also, you can find a lot of published reports other than interactive tools about a specific industry or something. Nielsen, for example, can have those reports. World Monitor can have those reports. CIA sometimes publishes reports as well.
Again, if our participants want to use the Q&A feature or the chat, we'll probably have time for another question or two here before our hour is up. But Emad, you spoke a lot about the attractiveness of pay-per-click advertising. What I see in the trade journals, if you will, a lot of articles about fraud in pay-per-click advertising and the difficulty in I guess screening that out. Is that just something that small businesses have to perhaps kind of work into the budget, so to speak, that not every click is really a click?
Yes. My information is that fraud itself is becoming less of an issue, because what Google does is to continuously develop their algorithms to identify those fraud clicks and prevent them. And that is getting smarter by the day. The main concern now is the cost that actually Google's charges is becoming higher and higher as smarter that it gets. So the cost per click is getting higher, but I think the fraud is getting less.
Well, that would be good news, because I'm sure small businesses can ill afford to have wasted marketing dollars. And with no other questions that have come in at this point, I want to thank you very much for schooling our small business owners on these essential marketing fundamentals. If more questions develop, the email addresses on the screen right now are the best way to reach you for assistance with Inbwnd, your company?
Sure, I would love to have like a one-on-one consultation for any of the business owners, participants. It's just something that we do for free, so we can have a talk. Reach out to me anytime, and I'd be happy to discuss.
Well, good. good opportunity to take advantage of. So as a reminder, this webinar is a presentation of the Community Economic Development Fund in Meriden, Connecticut. For the 7th year in a row, we're Connecticut's top SBA microlender. We make small business loans at very nominal interest rates, as small as a few $1,000s, and larger business loans too, from a pool of loan capital provided by many of the state's leading banks. There are geographic and or income qualification requirements for the borrowers. You can find out more about all of this at cedf.com. We've recorded this presentation and we're going to make it available in the coming days. Remember, we've moved our content to a new educational website at weteachsuccess.org/replays. I'm Frederick Welk, and we thank you very much for joining us today.